Hello human, I'm B Queener. I'm a licensed massage therapist and yoga teacher in Lansing, Michigan. Welcome to my new online video journey. I'd like to offer out some easy to follow at-home massage and movement techniques for my friends and clients to use personally, and then of course I'll incorporate my sappy little blend of bee brain blabs. Recently I've been trying to dedicate myself to a personal practice, like for real, and I'd love to share what I've been stirring up in here. Let's get into it, but I do want to say I'm not really going to demo right away, so just sit back, absorb what you can, where you are, and then in a bit, we can try a couple of the tools together. Before I start chatting though, let's wiggle around a bit. Get yourself comfy. If you want to sit like how I'm sitting, that's fine. You can take a couple deep breaths, lifting the shoulders up, dropping them back down behind you. No worries. Like many of us, in the last year, I'm definitely feeling it, all of it. I've been a student and facilitator of bodywork for enough time to know what I could be doing, but while we're all experiencing this collective trauma sandwich, I've been finding myself doing the opposite of leaning into my tools. And don't get me wrong, I wholeheartedly subscribe to not doing a dang thing sometimes. That mode is needed and important, essential. I, for one, watched 14 seasons of Grey's Anatomy while I was pregnant. I understand. Take all the time you need to rest and survive, especially now. We're in a pandemic. But recently I've been investigating that pause. I'm realizing for me, what's just as important to that pause is my commitment to strengthening the muscle that gets me back to myself. Because sure, pandemics don't happen all the time, thankfully, but trauma can. We can have babies and kind of lose our footing, or we can move or get sick or lose a loved one or a job. Whatever it is, life can throw us for a loop. And I'm thinking, what if instead of spiraling, we have a tool belt of go-to responses to really experience what's trying to come through for us. Sometimes when my emotions are all over the place and my movement has been low, I can't regulate enough to feel it, think it, scream about whatever might be coming up and upsetting me, let alone release it. What if we can practice enough to easily come back to remembering what we are capable of, and then once we're firing on enough cylinders, we can carry on fighting the good fight instead of just fighting ourselves. So that's a lot, I know. When figuring out how to translate what was coming up inside of me when putting together this video, I realized the best way to share all my other self-massage, tactile movement practices is to first unpack the importance of a commitment. This is a lifestyle, like brushing your teeth or washing your face. Like, shit's gonna get weird if you don't do it. For me, showing up is getting out of my own way enough to let myself navigate what could help me feel better. Maybe it's experiencing the releases that come from moving my body really fast, letting my arms expand as wide as they can. Or maybe something new happens when I fold forward while experiencing just being in that moment and slowing down. What if all of this jostling in some way is allowing me to let go of something while I make room for something new? Recently, I started placing a notepad near my mat or carrying it with me on my walks and before I practice. I like to scan the body, take note for any shouty stuck points. Maybe it's physical pain in my low back or racing thought or overall just like feeling weird. Whatever it may be, I write it down and I take note. I call it like a therapeutic word vomit. Just getting it out so I don't have to hold it. Then I move, maybe by guided class or just flowing on my own. I move in a way that feels good, no shame. Maybe it's biking or yoga or just general stretching. And after that, I stop what I'm doing, I come back down on the mat or on the trail, and I write again. Oftentimes for me, the things that I wrote about before seem more sorted out or less distracting. I feel more emotionally available to tap into now whatever may be trying to come through. What is my body trying to say? For me, the practice helps me organize so I can feel better and then do better. We all have things to do and responsibilities and people who need us, but I'm learning when I incorporate more of these practices and dedicate a small section of time for it throughout my day, more of me is available for others, for my community, for my family, for my business. I realize when I plan it out and stick to what I said I was going to do, with love for myself, my body, my mind, even my cells feel more heard, like the overall buzz of my person is less distracting. I think it's because I feel heard. I feel taken care of. That way, when I'm sharing time with others, I'm not disengaged, just thinking like, when do I get to do the thing that I want to do? I think the best part of all this too is realizing that we can have our own ways of soothing ourselves in moments of stress or a tense scenario. We can know our own personal recipe of what works best for us. And by doing all this introspection work, we can affirm that it's actually really cool to prepare yourself. It's not lame or cheesy to know what works for you. Like, say you're out in the world and you start to have anxiety or you feel weird and your mind starts racing, instead of just jumping headfirst into whatever is in that black hole, because that's easy, we can stop for a moment and try to problem solve. Maybe you have a checklist. I took my meds. I have had water. I've had food. I've gotten sleep. I talked to my therapist. We can heal together so we can rise together. My therapist said that. Lastly, for me though, on my checklist, it's did I move my body today? For me, it's incorporating my dedication to the personal movement practice that is the cherry on top, or maybe it's the bowl that holds it all together. I don't know. Whatever goes into the Sunday that makes you uniquely you, you can access it, follow your routines, and then maybe feel a little better a little sooner. What if we don't have to attach ourselves to every thought we have about ourselves or the world? You can let it come through you and release it. What if when we move ourselves, we can shake out any weird, judgy versions of ourselves or loud, distracting aches and pains? I think in the last year, we've all learned how deep this can go and what it actually means to ask for what you need. The panty brought out habits in me I was convinced I had moved on from, overcome. I had all these emotional responses that were reminding me that what I was doing wasn't cutting it for me personally. I said to myself, like, I'm ready to have better ways of figuring out what could help me feel better in my head so then I can properly translate all of that into my body. So we're just gonna try a few of the tools together. It's just little grounding exercises that you can do wherever you are. Just take a few deep breaths. You can sit how I'm sitting. If this is not good for your knees, you can have your legs out straight, whatever. You don't have to get too hung up on like how you are sitting. Just make sure it's comfy. So maybe lift up your butt. I literally pick up the booty and put it back down. But once you're all plugged in, we're gonna start with some neck rolls. So drop the right ear to the right shoulder, really feel that stretch to the left side. And then come down chin to chest. And then you can press on the back and kind of wiggle it around a little bit. And then left ear to left shoulder. So we don't wanna bring the shoulder to the ear, but ear to the shoulder. And then come all the way around. A lot of like work from home posture is cramping up the shoulder. So you can do that whenever, lift the shoulders up, drop them back behind you. And when you do that, you'll feel, it's like you have so much more of the world. If you're just like this, it's like, so just really bring it back, drop those down if you can. Like if you can't do this, then find little ways to find releases in your own body. Another really cool thing that I like to do just for grounding is putting the legs out in front, wherever you are, and then stretching all the way out through the toes. Toes come back towards your nose, lifting up here. This is so much harder than it looks, but it's a really good way to just kind of fire up the body a little bit. Take a few breaths here, and then release it. Come back into whatever seated position is comfortable for you. You can twist, just really wake up the spine and all the parts that hold you up. We don't want to make the back do everything. Like plug in your front too, so you can be well supported. So sometimes when we do some shoulder rolls like that, we might notice that the shoulders themselves feel a little tight. So you can just grab the tissue in your hand and just squeeze. I'm not really like squeezing the skin because that's not fun, but just squeezing the tissue, waking up the arms. They do everything for us. So if you have them, take care of them. Maybe you just want to press a little bit on the tops of the shoulders. I'm literally just taking my fingertips and pressing down. You can even drop your head away from your hand and do the other side. You'll feel it. It's there. We're all tense. But you don't have to hold on to it. You know, your turtle shell is there to protect you, but it also is pretty heavy too. So if you're sitting a lot too, you can have your legs out front and just wake up the legs a little bit. Don't hit the bones, but all those meaty parts of your body. You can even do the compression on your legs and like check in with your body. Say, it's just a really fun way to like connect the mind and the body. So we're all of us, all of everything that makes us us is on the same page. So it's not just like the body is being thrown around along for the ride. It's a team effort. So these little tools can help you just feel better throughout your day. And like I literally don't feel shoulder tension. My arms feel better, my legs feel better, like ready to go.